podcast, joined as always by Clinton Boring. My name is Ryan Statkoviak. We are continuing our fall preview series this evening. I think we're now 23% of the way through the teams, Clinton. Talking to the
Ryan, you
Nebraska
did math.
Cornhuskers. It was 100% a guesstimate. Do not check my math on that. I don't know what 5 divided by 19 is off the top of my head. We're just going to say 23%. We are joined once again for the fourth time by Redcast Rob to help us break down.
I think it's 4 times. Well, 3 times with you because, excuse my burp. I just finished a Coca-Cola. Because you weren't here last time, I ate your egg and peanut butter sandwich for you. You said 5 divided by 19. Is that what you said?
I did.
It's 26%.
Oh, not bad, Ryan. It's getting better. You're getting better.
I mean,
just don't ever go on the stats.
If this was Price is Right, you would win because you did not go over.
Yeah, did not go over. That's Price is Right, man. Good for me. We are talking to the Nebraska Cornhuskers tonight, and Rob is once again joining us. Thank you, sir, once again for making time for us. How are you tonight?
Great. I do your podcast more than I do my own these days, so this is actually fun. You guys kind of made me realize that we are so close to football season, just in general, right? And there's it's right around the corner. I just looked today, and I'm glad I did. I just booked my tickets to Kansas City I'm actually going out there for work. But on the Thursday before I leave, there just happens to be a football game at Arrowhead Stadium between who is that? The Nebraska Cornhuskers and some team from Ohio that I don't know. What conference are they even in? Is it
the Little 12?
The Big Mac or something like that, or I don't know,
12
like the Filet-O Football Conference or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Last time we played a team from the Big 12. People are still talking about it now. We just destroyed them in their entire season, and the only thing they could hold on to is a fake Heisman. So.
And 2 retired jerseys.
God, if I was Cordell Stewart, I would never show up to an event at that school again.
Absolutely.
For sure. Clinton, how are you tonight?
I am good, man. Anytime. I love all of our guests. But Rob is a fan favorite for us and our fans, all 5 of them. No, I'm excited to have him on. Talk some Nebraska Cornhuskers. It's an exciting upcoming season. Yes, we are so near college football. I can't wait. I'm going on vacation in 2 weeks. Going to be out for a whole week. I cannot wait. Ryan gets to run the show himself for 3 or 4 episodes, so I'm putting a lot of trust in him. I believe he can do it. And I'm going to come back rejuvenated, and camp starts pretty much for everybody that last week of July, so I'm pretty excited. Guys, thank you for any of you who decided to join us tonight live as we preview the Nebraska Cornhuskers. If you're listening to us on your podcast feed, you can find us anywhere in your preferred podcast, ITP CFB. You can also find us on the YouTube under ITP CFB. Make sure you like and subscribe to help us grow the show. And then you can find us on your socials of X and Instagram. Just search ITP CFB. Give us a follow there. Trying to keep up with as much that's going on in the world. We just learned today that OU has reached out to the Sun Belt about joining the MAC, so we got craziness ensuing. But tonight, let's focus on the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Hey, those mountains blue?
It's inside the pylon 6-pack of questions.
Yes, Clinton, thank you for asking. Those mountains are indeed blue. A nice cool Coors Light. I don't have.
I promised the wonderful folks at Garage Beer that I would shout them out tonight. Thank you guys so much for following us back on Twitter. We hope at some point we can earn your beer sponsorship because your beer is delicious. I have yet to try the new Garage Beer Lime, but that is on my to-do list up next.
No, you have to. The lime is really good. The lime is my favorite.
Cheers to you, Garage Beer.
They actually liked my comment on one of our Twitter threads. So I don't know if I can buy Garage Beer here in Colorado, but if I can, Garage Beer, feel free to reach out, give me a shout out, let me know where I can buy it because I'm too lazy to Google it. I'm actually drinking a WeldWorks. It's the collaboration called the Convivial, because why wouldn't they name it something that's easy to remember? And it's kind of cool, actually. There's a cool backstory. The Weldworks Brewing Company is right here in Greeley, Colorado. It's one of the best breweries in the country, hands down. And that is not conjecture. It is actually rated as one of the best breweries in the country. And the collaboration with Russian River Brewing Company, well, they are out of Santa Rosa, California, which is where pretty much I lived before I moved to Colorado and grew up my entire life there in Sonoma County. So it's like they combined two of my favorite things in the world into one thing, and I can share it with you guys because you guys are probably at least in my top 20 favorite things in the whole world right now. So
We love it.
at my age, you have to really narrow that list down. So
And we've made that list. That's
you have made that list. I can't tell you guys no matter whether I wanted to or not.
Fantastic. I love that. I love that for us.
Well, Rob, I want to dive in tonight with your Huskers and talking about question number one here, a theme that has unfortunately reared its ugly head for multiple seasons. And the theme for Nebraska has been one-score losses.
No.
Unfortunately, hey, they did make the bowl game we talked about last year. They finally broke that. They are through that. Now let's break this one-score loss streak, or the streak of one-score losses. Last year they suffered 5 more. What can the Huskers do to improve upon this in year 3 of Matt Rhule and try to reduce this occurrence from popping up so much?
So first of all, I'm going to start with the obvious, and that's going to be they're going to need to have some really big improvements on the special team side. Last year they were at number 125 in the country for special teams, which is terrible because they were like 99 the year before. One of the areas that they need to improve upon is on kicking. Tristan Alvano, before his injury, was 9 for 15 on field goal attempts. John Hull actually came in and improved our overall number there with 23 for 25 coming in. And punting too was, they averaged close to 45 yards, 44.7 yards per punt last year. But for blocks adjusted, it was actually down to 35.7. One of the things we did this year is we added a new punter, the Australian style punter. And it's looking like John Hull is projected to be the starter this year. I think he did a really good job and proved that he is capable of taking over that starter role. But we'll see. There's still camp to go and, a whole off season. So, I'm just looking at just a few predictions here and there. And right now, that's kind of where that's at. The only way to go really with special teams right now is up. So that's pretty much all I can really say. To help with that, hold on one second.
You missed it, Ryan. His daughter went to creep into the picture. You gotta love it.
Sorry, guys. I've got multiple children here, and one of them thinks he's being all quiet, and he's wrinkling a beef jerky pack in one hand and sneezing in the other. And, I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me right now. Like, I asked for privacy. If you don't have children or if you have younger children, you've got so many things to look forward to.
Privacy.
Let's get back to this. Also, I think that the offense, and I'm going to do my air quotes, should improve this year. Last year, they were 23.5 points per game with 359 yards. And again, we can only improve on those numbers given the additions to our offensive line, the wide receiver room. We've got guys like Harburg that are going from the starting quarterback position to where he was the backup last year to now he's going to be a tight end in that offense because he's just an all-around great athlete. I don't know how much you guys follow things like that, but like during the Husker basketball season, the football team always has a game where they come out and do a slam dunk contest, and Harburg's won it like 2 years in a row, hands down. So it just kind of tells you what kind of athlete he is. I think it'll also add a nice little spark to the offense when needed, whether he's lining up in the backfield, lining up a tight end, or even maybe just like taking a wildcat snap in short yardage situations. There'll be a lot of options to put him in, no pun intended. Plus, our defense should continue to be the strong point of this team. in my opinion. While we did lose a lot of older players on the defensive line, and it always looks like our linebacker room is thin, our cornerbacks are coming back with some strong leadership. We've made a few additions in the transfer portal, and we only allowed something like what is it, like 318 yards per game and 19.5 points per game, which was
Other
kind
than
of
that
right around
Indiana
projections.
game.
What's that?
Other than that Indiana game.
Well, hey, look, man.
I think they're still scoring.
Yeah. Well,
We love you.
Oh
Rob.
my God! Can you imagine if that Ohio State game had turned around? Maybe you and I would be having a much different conversation.
Yeah, we almost had to put you on the show for that one, for that special night. And, I would have needed a lot more garage beers.
Yeah,
Push through that one. Let me tell you.
But I mean, so to just bring it and kind of tie a knot on that one, or tie a bow on that one, whatever you want to call it. Those are the things that I think can help improve with those one-score losses. But I will say that special teams has been our bugaboo for the last, I don't even know how many years, and the only way we can go is up with that, and it needs to change this year in order to overcome some of those, because field position, obviously, we know is key, and you can't miss field goals, and you can't have block punts, and you eliminate the small mistakes in there, and that changes a lot of things in a lot of games.
I just love talking special teams with you because you're one of the only people that we bring on that does it, and it's one of those areas of the game that nobody thinks about until you have a reason to think about it.
It's very true. And while I still think special teams improved last year, obviously it caused a lot of heartache as well. Boomer, Redcast Boomer would be extremely proud of me right now for talking special teams. So,
speaking of improvement, I think one of the most fascinating areas of this football team in 2025 is what kind of improvement are we going to get from Dylan Raiola. I don't think the hype surrounding him in year one really did him any favors. There was really no way that he could feasibly live up to that billing. But I thought he had a good season, all in all things considered. 2 offensive coordinators, not a ton of help around him. I liked some of the additions they made in the portal, and I like some of the additions they made in the portal, particularly wide receiver this year, and we'll kind of get into that here in a minute. But after his 2024 season, what are you expecting from Raiola in 2025 now with a full offseason with the same offensive coordinator under his belt?
Well, he was the only, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there was freshman starters last year, but he was the only true freshman starter in the Power 4 conferences last year. He started last year with a 9-2 touchdown to interception ratio, and then the last half of the season it turned into a 4-9 ratio, and he started to more and more look like an actual true freshman, I think, in a lot of ways. Now that he's been in just the Husker offense and with Holgorsen for 4 games, I think we're going to see a lot more improvement out of him because he'll have a better understanding. One of the things that he was known for in high school, and I still think he was, last year too, because if you look at the way he controlled the offense, made a bowl game, won a bowl game, was he always perfect? No. I think he has a season of Big Ten football under his belt, which is not something a lot of 19-year-old kids can say. He started every game. I think. I'm trying to remember if he didn't start one game, but he started every game. He was out there. He was playing with a bunch of guys that, in my opinion, a few of them really lived up to their potential. Emmett Johnson really came on at the end of the season there once Holgorsen took over the offense. And, guys like my apologies. Guys like Ja'Cory Barney really stepped up their game as, he was the leading receiver there. We've added a few guys in the transfer portal, which we'll get to. And we've actually added a couple true freshmen this year that are looking like they may be able to, get some playing time. So I think he's going to take a step up. I think he's going to have a lot more patience in the offense. I think that he's going to make some better decisions, and hopefully he has some wide receivers that help him with that. And like I said, he's got a full season too with Heinrich Harburg playing next to him and as a teammate supporting him. And quite frankly, I think he's going to be a really good outlet at tight end.
I was full bore on it last year. I'm still on the Raiola hype train. I think there's a lot of good things for him to come in the next 2 seasons, especially. Remember, people, we still have 2 more years of him, maybe 3 in the world of NIL now. Who knows what could happen? I mean, if he pops off the next 2 years, he'll be a first-round pick, sayonara. But you never say never. Well, in order for Raiola to kind of get to that next level, he needs some help from some different positions. So question number 3 here, protecting Dylan Raiola. Sacked 27 times in 2024. This is going to be key.
I want to correct you on that, actually. It was 28 sacks.
Oh, gosh. An extra 28
Good
times in
math,
2024.
Quentin.
Yeah, it's okay.
ESPN said 27. That is straight from ESPN, not AI.
Phil Steele said 28. So
I believe Phil Steele.
Yeah.
So it's going to be key to get Nebraska as a whole to where they want to be in year 3 under Matt Rhule.
Yeah.
With the addition and some big portal names that you and I talked about back in the spring episode, Ryan probably doesn't know what they're called because he wasn't here, but Elijah Pritchett and Rocco Spindler, what can we expect from this unit in 2025?
Well, so last year, this offensive line they didn't allow, I'm sorry, they allowed our running backs, I should say, to rush for 131 yards per game, again, giving up the 28 sacks. But one of the things is we had a lot of injuries. The last 3 years, this offensive line has had a lot of injuries, which, you can blame on a lot of things, but injuries happen. But they do bring back 9 guys with a total of 131 starts between all of them. And with some key additions there, they are expected, I think, absolutely to be better. Obviously, plaguing by injuries the last season. I think given the way that the weight room culture has changed and some of the conditioning, coaches have come in there, we should see a lot of guys on that line actually improving. Like you said, that they did add some guys from the transfer portal over there, and I think that that's going to actually be one of the strengths this year for this team is going to be the offensive line. Do I think they're going to be one of the best in the league? I mean, this is the Big Ten. Let's not over-exaggerate anything, but do I think that they're going to be in the top half of the league? Absolutely.
What?
Sorry, was that not enough for you?
No, that was good. How do you envision the line kind of lining up if you're going left to right?
If we're going left to right, I have no idea. You're asking the wrong guy for that sort of thing. You want that kind of stuff. You get Redcast Honky on here, man. He's if we're going left to right, right to left, I don't know. I'm imagine that they're gonna put a bunch of big muscular fat dudes in front of whoever's running the ball, and then that guy's gonna run through some holes that are created by those guys. Regardless of what direction they're going, maybe run it through the A gap. If the A gap's not there, run it through the B gap. I don't know, man. All that sort of stuff and play, that's never been my forte, quite frankly. I can look at plays. I can see what guys are doing. When I watch football, I watch the line almost more than anything. I watch to see who's blocking on the outside. But all they are numbers on their backs at this point. I don't care who the player is. And, the way that this coaching staff works with their rotation of players and substitutions, ins and outs, all that stuff, keeping guys fresh on the field. Let's just say that I think that as a unit and as Dominic Raiola continues to work with these guys, we're only going to see them get better and better over the year.
I would assume Pritchett and Spindler are pretty much slated to start.
I pretty much assume
NIL money.
You are correct, and there's any of those guys that they brought in, upperclassmen that are transfers, I'm going to assume that they're going to be starting. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some more transfers at the wide receiver position. I thought, like I said in the previous question, I thought Nebraska did well in the portal last year and bolster the wide receiver position. I feel like they did a better job this year. I really like Dane Key. I really like Nyziah Hunter. Mm-hmm. Both of those additions supplementing what is already on this roster. Mm-hmm. What are you expecting out wide from this unit in 2025?
Well, what I do expect, hopefully, is a lot more blocking on the perimeter, but that's my big thing with the wide receivers. I think I think that's a big key, and in college football, you don't see it enough. But as you said, this is obviously a unit that I only expect to get stronger. Their top receiver, Corey Barney, had 55 catches last year. They add some key guys, like you said, Dane Key from Kentucky, who was their number one receiver with 47 receptions for 715 yards. You got Nyziah Hunter from Cal, who had 40 receptions for 578 yards. And like I mentioned earlier, Harburg is moving to tight end. So I think we're going to see a dynamic offense, from a lot of guys that have been on the roster, that I think will have a good, decent season. And there's a lot of depth on this roster too, and we can get more into the youth and et cetera. But there's a lot of depth and guys there like Noonan and did I say it? Yeah, I think that's that we could see some guys break out that are surprise players on this roster that could maybe not get as many catches, but will make some plays when needed.
Looking at the guys of Mills and is it Mozzie? How do you say his last name?
Oh geez. Now you're gonna make me look at the roster, which I've been kind of holding
Mozee.
Mosey. Yeah, Mosey. Yeah, he's Cortez Mills. Jeremiah Jones, that's another good one. Isaiah Mosey. Yeah, those are all true freshmen that are coming in. Again, guys like Janarian Bonner. You're gonna see guys like who was the other guy that I thought maybe Demetrius Bell, guys like that you could see make an impact, but right now they aren't the ones that everyone's talking about because they're not like the big NIL transfer portal guys.
I think what we talked about in the spring, right, with Key and Hunter, they're pretty big-bodied guys, right?
Oh yeah, that's important. They're tall, they're strong, they're fast. But with Raiola, you need guys that have hands. I mean, we saw last year, and we won't go too much on that, but one of our big key transfer guys was just he had hands like bricks, and so he dropped a lot of balls that he should have caught for first downs that could have extended games or even won us a game in one point. So I mean, no excuses against Ohio State, but that happened. That's that really was the difference between winning the game and what ended up losing the game. So you gotta make those catches in those situations, and we need people that can do that. Not there you are. So I mean,
is he done, or did he leave and transfer somewhere?
No, he went to. I think he actually became NFL eligible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just knew he wasn't on Nebraska anymore, so I started to care less because he wasn't there.
But I mean, you know what? I wish him well.
Absolutely.
Once a Husker, always a Husker.
Well, you mentioned at the top of the show the defense, and you kind of expect that to be the strength of the team again coming into this year.
Yeah.
Well, you lose your defensive coordinator to Florida State. We hashed on this a little bit in the spring episode. So now we're year number 1 under DC John Butler. Ryan had to correct us when he proofread this because AI lied to me and told me it was the second year under John Butler.
Yeah.
Fail. Anyways,
why you
year
don't AI,
1
use your human brain.
That's okay, because AI actually gave me a player as an addition to the defense. It turned out he transferred to Arizona, stayed for a week, and then went back to Arizona. So, I mean,
oh my God.
Yeah, there you go. So,
we're looking at this defense.
That's why I had people
to be the
proofread
strength.
it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which position group?
Cornerback.
I kind of rolled all the defense in here. Which position group do you think is the most confident, and then what are you least confident?
I was really confident in saying defensive back because it returned some of the better starters like Sierra Wright, who was a leader in the backfield. They added two strong transfers. They still have guys like Buford and Hartzog that will continue to contribute. Hartzog's a ball hawk. That guy, like, for some reason, he's not the biggest dude. He's 5'9". I know he's a true 5'9" because I have stood next to him on the field as he was walking by and talked to him a little bit after a game one time. But that kid, running free as, a safety or whatever it is you want to, put him at back there, whatever they want to call the position, he can find the ball, he can intercept it. It's just a matter of getting those guys. I think that they're going to have some really strong older leadership and still continue to play well. Guys like Marquise Grove Killebrew. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the guy that actually transferred from Arizona and went back. So I still had his name there. Apparently I didn't delete it everywhere. But Jameer Khan from Southern Illinois, Andrew Marshall from Idaho, Justin Rhett from Georgia. They all joined that team. So there's a lot of depth as well in that cornerback room. So I think they're still going to continue to be a strong part of our offense, or I'm sorry, of our defense, of our offense stopping portion of the team. How's that? And then they've also got a kid, I think it's like Desan McCullough, and forgive me.
Yeah.
He's like a linebacker slash defensive back from Oklahoma. And he's got a year of eligibility remaining here, playing for the Huskers. And it'll be interesting to see how they use him, because in this 3-3-5 defense, which I believe they're still going to continue to run, even with Butler at the helm, there's a lot of positions that, they may have names, but they're more of like hybrids, right? Guys moving around, switching places. One of the things that I've always curious about for the longest time with NFL offenses is like, why do they always seem to make it so hard to cover tight ends, right? Like these new athletic tight ends that come into the league, whether it was, going from guys like, Jay Novacek to, oh God, now all of a sudden the name escapes me, the dude from the Chargers, but now you've got guys like Kelsey and, everybody else that have just been these athletic tight ends for years and years. And of course, I can't think of the names off the top of my head, but I can picture them in my head. Why can't they just find a guy that's a position that, whether it's another tight end that they turn into a defensive guy who can drop back and cover these guys, right? So it would be nice to see if we can actually find some hybrid type of players like that in our defensive backfield. I think that, I know you're probably going to ask me which ones you said the worst. I'm not going to say which one's the worst. The least confident. God, I think, I don't even want to put it least confident, but the one that like has the biggest question mark for me, how's that, is going to be the defensive line. They took the biggest hit with graduates. They still retain a lot of their other talent, but and they use a scheme that uses a lot of substitutions, a lot of rotations for different looks. You look at those. I think it was like 30 some odd sacks that we had last year. I think it might have been 30 even. They all came from different guys all over the field, all over the line. And a lot of these guys that were sophomores and juniors last year are now part of the junior and senior team this year. And some of those guys, and I've heard some of the local Husker radio guys talk about them and say that, like, don't be surprised if with this, if we may see some addition by subtraction on there, right? Because some of these guys, may not have the build of like a Nash Huntmacher, or, you know what I mean? But like they can still, or even Williams, like James Williams, but these guys can still get after it, and they could be faster and more athletic on that line, moving around, making it harder for, to be stopped. They've got transfers like Gabe Moore from Mississippi State. You got William Nawari, I can't even say that, from Missouri, and Jalen George from East Tennessee State, and these are all highly touted transfers. So, we'll see what these guys can do with that. They still have a lot of talent along the line, like I said, and don't be surprised if you see some guys you've never even heard of that get more playing time this year that step up.
One of my favorite adages in college sports, especially when talking about transfer portal guys, is if you're still talking about his high school rating when he's been in college for 3 years, he probably stinks. But with Nwaneri,
and I don't know.
We're talking about a kid who was a top 10 player in the country in the class of 2024. So he's just been in college for a year. Have you gotten any kind of impression on early read on him and how he's going to fit in the defense?
Well, so one of the interesting things about this year's Nebraska team that I think that, while there hasn't been a lot of offseason drama outside of he who we shall not mention, just who can't keep our name out of his mouth every time he gets in front of a microphone. But as far as like players go and things like that, there has apparently, it feels like there hasn't been as much like outside drama from everyone. Like, there's been access for for media to practices. There's been access for fans to practices, things like that. But I feel like a lot of the real stuff is going on behind the scenes, which, oh my God, is Nebraska becoming a real program again? And so it's hard to say. Have I heard his name yet? I've heard his name as a player that's going to be an impact player this year. One of the guys that I really trust a lot is Damon Benning. When it comes to listening to his show in the morning. Shout out also to Hurrdat Sports Network, which is the Go Big Redcast affiliate. Damon Benning and Ravi Lula have the morning show on there live from the Hurrdat Sports Bar every single day. No one asked me to make that plug, but I love those guys. They are my boys, and every time I come out there, they do nothing but treat me with the utmost respect and kindness. So, I listen to their show daily, and, Benning talks about some of these guys and who's going to be a real player out there and whatnot. And I trust his opinion, especially because in the past I've asked him about some players that I was really high on, and he just kind of looked at me like, I'm glad you feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, I really hope that they, that you're right, and of course I'm never right. So, that's a big thing. And it's funny too, because there's a kid on our team that is a defensive back who's an Omaha kid, and he was a redshirt freshman last year by the name of Caleb Benning. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit out of him this year too. He was a big recruit get for us. There's a lot of other teams out there recruiting him. He stayed home to be a Husker, and so that'll be fun. So shout out to Caleb as well.
Well, before Ryan gets to his overarching question, we did have a question from our friend Ryan Burns.
Okay. Who is Ryan Burns?
Night. He is the 24/7 main writer for the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Oh,
do you remember last year? He already knows it's coming, Ryan. Last year we had Ryan Herrings from Locked On Wisconsin ask you the lovely, I believe, was it Monty Ball or Melvin Gordon question?
Melvin Gordon question.
Melvin Gordon.
He's still running to this day.
He is. So it must be a Ryan thing, because we have Ryan Zakowiak, Ryan Herrings, Ryan Burns. So Ryan Burns would like to know, it's another off-season championship for the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Correct.
Can they actually beat PJ Fleck this year?
Yes.
That's all you got? Just a yes?
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to go to that game. That'll be my second time for a Minnesota game in Minnesota. But this year, my good friends Miranda and Craig Coleman will be there rooting on their son Malachi, who was a transfer from Nebraska to Minnesota this year.
Okay.
And so they'll be out there, cheering for their son. And over the last couple of years, I've gotten really close with them. And so every time I go out to Lincoln, I meet up with them, hang out with them. Every chance that I can get, I've met both of their children. I haven't met their older son. I may have met him briefly, if I recall, but I have met. I did get a chance to meet Malachi. I met Nyziah, their daughter. Amazing athletes, both of them. Nyziah should be a 5-star softball recruit, in my opinion. I've gone to her games. Like literally, that's where I'm at with them. Is they're like, hey, do you want to come watch our daughter play softball? I know it sucks. I was like, bro, like sit out there, have a couple beers with them in the parking lot, go in and watch some high school softball. And Nyziah, man, that girl's talented. I can't believe she's not being recruited more, but she has committed already. So yes, to answer that question, yes, I think that they will beat Minnesota this year. It's we're going to beat a lot of teams this year that we haven't beat in a while.
Well, that's a great segue into the last question. Looking at the schedule, and this team overall heading into 2025, at his previous 2 college stops, year 3 of Matt Rhule has been a year of marked improvement.
Correct.
After ending the bowl-less drought in 2024 and getting that monkey off of the program's back, what do you think would constitute a successful season for the Huskers in 2025?
8-4 with a bowl win, 9-4. I think would be the floor for me.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, okay, I'm just gonna say it because screw it. You guys can quote me on this later, but and I'm sure you'll cut it into some TikTok crap or whatever kids do these days. But I think that Nebraska is a dark horse playoff team. I think that they are going to come out with some fire in their belly. I'm not the only person in the country that's saying this stuff. I'm not saying it for clicks. I'm saying it because I've watched this team. I talk to a lot of people around the program that see a lot of things that are going on there that are markedly different from, the last. Even, while Pelini still won 9 to 10 games a year, even Riley had a couple of really good seasons. We have not seen this in a really long time. And I think that we are going to continue to just see improvement over improvement and get to a point to where 9-10 losses is going to start to be a disappointment for this program here in the near future.
Did you say 9 to 10 losses?
No, I'm sorry, 9 to 10 wins.
I was like, wait a second.
I'd hope
When's
so.
the last time
Did
you
I
had
say
9 to
losses?
10 losses?
Did I really
Yeah.
say that? Do you see what happens when you get I'm like an abused husband here or something, It's like I'm so used to losing that losses came out of my mouth before wins. 9 to 10 wins will without some kind of playoff appearance will be a disappointment for this team.
Well, listen, you look how the schedule breaks down, right? And no disrespect to the Cincinnati fan who was chirping you. I don't think Cincinnati's going to beat Nebraska. I don't think Akron's going to beat Nebraska. I don't even know what HCU is.
Holy Cross.
Holy Cross.
Holy fuck.
Holy crap, actually, is what you should have said.
I don't think Holy Cross will be beating Nebraska. So, starting Big Ten play, hosting Michigan without their head coach. You win that game, you're 4-0 heading into a bye, undefeated heading into an October that is not exactly the most daunting Big Ten schedule with Michigan State, at Maryland, at Minnesota, Northwestern. I feel like we said something similar last year. It wouldn't be surprised me if Nebraska's undefeated.
It wouldn't be
heading into
surprised me
Ohio
if they're
State.
undefeated at the end of yeah.
Yeah,
I'm still feeling that. I feel that.
Would I bet on it?
Bet.
Would I bet on it? No. Do I have to squint hard to see it? Also, no. Also, no. If they win that Michigan game, I think all bets are off, and I might start drinking the Kool-Aid with you.
Hey, and Nebraska would do something that Ohio State hasn't done for 3 years, and that's beat Michigan.
If we're being
4 years, actually.
No,
4 years. I'm so sorry.
No, if we're gonna throw 2020 in there when Michigan chickened out of the game, it's technically been 5 years or 6 years since Ohio State has beaten Michigan.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
In the case of the fake COVID, they missed that year. That was the supposed year of we're going to hang 70 on them or whatever they said.
Might have
Listen,
saved Harbaugh's job.
If we're thinking about Michigan on a side note here, if they drop that Oklahoma game and then drop the Nebraska game, the wheels are coming off that train real quick. Yeah, really quick. They're staring down the barrel of 7-5, if not worse.
Could be.
So,
Is that me or you guys with the buzzing? Can you hear that?
I think it might be you.
Well, man.
Don. Whoop. There you
Oh,
go.
yeah, it's definitely you. He's buzzing.
Could you hear that?
I
Now
could
you're
hear
good.
that.
Oh,
Now it's
that was
good.
weird. That was really, really weird. Don't know what kind of feedback that was, but
Well, it's fixed. That's all that matters.
it's all right. This mic has been dropped more times than my children, so
Tell him to join the
God.
club. Tell him to join the club.
yeah.
So you not only come to Inside the Pylon to get your Midwest college football kicks, your garage beer takes, but you come when we have Rob for freaking humor and laughs.
Well, it's funny too. I recently got a promotion at work, and so I've not had as much time to prepare for these sort of things, but I really did go out of my way last night. I spent about 2.5 hours doing a lot of different I don't want to call it research. I hate that word these days. That word's been ruined. But I did a lot of homework for 2.5, 3 hours last night, just taking notes, doing everything like that. I won't say that I'm 100% perfect. I'm sure I said a few things that, people can make fun of later, but it's not like any other night when I'm out having a good time with my friends anyway. So, yeah. And I'm terrible at names. That's the worst part about it. Tony Gonzalez. There you go. See? That kind of stuff
Gonzalez, Algie Crumpler.
Algie
I had all the
Crumpler,
names ready. Jeremy Shockey,
Antonio Gates. Yeah, thank you.
Oh
yeah, like all these guys that were great tight ends. Sorry, not to go back, but like that's how my brain works, because I fill it with so many thoughts all at once, and then like I try to like change the subject on myself while I'm trying to stay on track, but I have ADD undiagnosed for 51 years, and so it's really hard. So all of a sudden, then like in my head, it stores that information, and eventually just pops it up like some weird AI find or something. So yeah. So yeah, I've always been a big tight end guy. I don't know if you guys know this story. A million people have heard it before, but my family is from Gothenburg in we'll call it Western Nebraska. It's kind of central Nebraska. Small town. Apparently, it's supposed to be the home of the Pony Express, like where it started, all that stuff. But a Hall of Fame, or what I think is a Hall of Fame tight end, but a Super Bowl winning tight end came out of there by the name of Jay Novacek, and he happens to be my second cousin. So
nice.
as a kid growing up in the 80s and 90s, following Jay was like my passion. So I was not a Cowboys fan. I want to be clear on this. I have always been
boys.
I have always been a Raiders fan, but I will go to the
worse.
grave cheering for a family member who is who plays for an NFL team. So he was on the Cardinals.
Awesome.
He was on the Cardinals before the Cowboys, and I had a Cardinals starter jacket in high school.
Dude, starter jackets.
Dude,
the bomb.
I know.
Making a comeback.
I would like to find that too, because I bet you I could get some money for that. Because it was a St. Louis Cardinals starter jacket. Ooh. Just to be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was back when St. Louis used to have football teams. So
taking us way back, Rob. Way back.
I know. Well, I'm old. I am old.
We'll be there in 18 years, Ryan.
Yeah. I actually have a son who is 18 years old. So.
Honestly, if I am
I
alive in 18 years, I'd be thrilled with that.
Yeah.
If you're alive in 18, dear God, I hope you are.
In 18 years, who knows?
We
might all be gone by World War III at that point. Who knows?
Listen,
I was trying to, let's avoid politics, please.
I got back pain and skin cancer, man. My clock is ticking.
We're all gonna die.
At some point, Father Time is undefeated.
Father Time is undefeated, unless they come up with like artificial everything, and then I'll be like that one that has like the weird, like consciousness of. I would be like the first to sign up for it, just because I know how many people I annoy in this world, to like allow my consciousness to live on forever. Like that would.
Can we still invite you on the podcast?
Fuck yeah.
It's just a floating blob. It lights up anytime he goes to talk.
I'd be like that Marvel character, big head and like a little chair floating around the place.
No, see, that'll be easy though, because all we'll need to do is just send an email to your
brain
conscious computer, and then we can just upload it in through the cloud here, and we'll be good to go.
Boom, boom.
You really thought this out. I'm impressed.
Yeah. We're talking about this at work today. I want to be one of those people that they put the human head on the robot.
So I know you guys haven't done like I know you're not haven't done your Ohio State preview. I know you haven't done your Notre Dame preview, anything like that. But, like, you two cocky motherfuckers, like, I mean, what are your projections on that? I mean, like, how do you guys think? I mean, personally, think the Huskers are going to look this year in the Big Ten? Do you see them making a market improvement? Do you see them being a dark horse playoff team? I'm going to podcast the podcasters here.
No, I just told you, man, if they beat Michigan, all bets are off. Because it's just like everything in, like, I'm with Clinton that I think the Big Ten's not going to be as top heavy as it was last year, where you look and it's like, okay, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, and to an extent Indiana are probably
and Indiana I think takes a step back this year. I think last year was an anomaly. Their schedule's set up for them to the point.
Careful now, you're going to get our podcast blown up with IU fans
I think
morning.
I think both things
all four of them will actually be mad at you.
They have more than USC at least.
Yeah, there you go. Last year was kind of a perfect storm for them. And I think they'll be good this year, but that schedule's a little tougher than they got in 2024. But I don't know. I mean, I guess the $1 million question is, it depends on what everyone thinks of Penn State, because sure, you can be the best team in the Big Ten, but does that make you a true national title contender? I don't know yet. I would like to see them with the new receivers, and I'm still not sure how much I buy Drew Aller, but I think a couple of those top teams come back to the middle a little bit, and I think some of those teams that we saw in the middle last year take a little bit of a step forward. And I mean, with that, you don't have to be the best team in the country on any given Saturday. You just have to be the best team in the stadium. And if you string a couple games together, you start riding some momentum. I mean, is Nebraska going to be 7-0 heading into the last weekend of October? It could happen. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm with I think like 8-4 is a floor for Nebraska. I think that would be a take that I would buy right now.
Yeah, I think they have a lot of guys that, like I said, I feel like, and I'm saying this, I feel like that they're as good as some of those defensive guys are that are now playing in the league, or at least have an opportunity to play in the league. I feel like there could be some addition by subtraction in the sense that a true 3-3-5 with the rotations that they have, and some of these guys being as athletic as they are and still as young, without like the wear and tear that a lot of these older players will get by playing so many games leading up to this, over the years. We could see some guys that really surprise us on that defense, and as everybody knows, like in the Big Ten, if you're going to win, your defense has to be solid, right? And I mean, there were a couple games last year where you're just like, maybe this defense, against top level teams, and I hate to say that about Indiana, but Indiana last year was a top level team the way that they played, and they came out and they boat raced us. And our defense was not the defense that everyone thought was going to be going into that game. And quite frankly, that kind of like changed the momentum in our season. So, I mean, yeah, we were 7-6 last year with the bowl win. But, quite frankly, we should be bowl eligible by like game 7 or 8 is my hope. And, and then it's, from there, hopefully they loosen up. Like you said, they got that monkey off their back in there. They could be.
I mean, that's Ryan pretty much spoke for me. I think the Big Ten's the deepest it's been in years. We go back and forth all the time of who's the better conference, Big Ten, SEC, Big Ten, SEC. And I get it, the Big Ten has the last 2 national champions. But from top to bottom, year after year, it's been the SEC. And the Big Ten seems to maybe be arriving there this year. And the deepest it's been in years, of course, you have the addition of the West Coast teams who help that with USC in the middle or in the middle. Ryan started this train, and I've bought into it. Washington is a playoff dark horse this year if everything.
I always forget that those teams joined our conference.
It's crazy, right? It's crazy.
Right. Like I remember USC because there's a guy that owns a local distillery here in Greeley that he's a huge USC fan. Actually, the name of the distillery when he first named it was Tower 56, which is a tower, like a beach tower on down in Orange County. But he had to change the name eventually anyway because of copyright or some other crap that, whatever. But he's a huge USC fan, like his whole family is. So I remember that. But then like teams like UCLA and Oregon and Washington, it just feels weird. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think Nebraska's got the shot to be a 10-2 playoff dark horse, and I think it's exciting times. I think it's about time we get Nebraska back to those early 90s days, and get everything rolling again, and let's get some consistency for them, and consistently being at that fringe 9 win, if not a little more, maybe a little less. And with the 16-team expansion coming, we all know it's coming. It's not going to be 14. It's going to be 16. And whatever dumbass model they want to come out with to get it there. Nebraska should be pushing for it. That is my expectations for a team that is historical as them. It's time to not be off-season champs anymore, damn it. It's time to be in-season champs.
Correct. And, I mean, blue blood. And the blue blood needs to start playing like a blue blood. It's just the way it is. We've gone through our, geez, all of a sudden now, Joffrey Lannister period. We need to, get back to the Starks. So.
Yep, absolutely.
That's a good reference. That's all I have, guys. Clinton, you got anything else?
I mean, isn't there something else you guys want to talk about? I mean, do we have to keep talking about Husker football? It's always, it hasn't been an hour yet. You know, I mean, geez. You know, how you guys doing? You know, how's the family? Didn't one of you guys have a kid or something recently?
I have two, man. I have a 5 and a 2-year-old.
Oh,
We
boy.
completed our when I hit you in the spring. We had t-ball that went great. We're looking at starting flag football. He's also recently picked up a recent obsession with. I just said recently 2 times in the span of 3 words. That's
Yes,
a
you
great
did.
radio. He picked up tennis. He enjoys hitting tennis balls, but he swings the racket like a baseball bat. So I'm like, hell yeah, 2 birds, 1 stone.
You know what I call that?
What's
Golf.
that? Golf. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we're busy as always.
I
with
coach
the kids
9-year-old
and-
soccer girls, and I was like the last coach to sign up last year, so they stuck me with like a lot of girls that had never played before.
Oh boy.
We did not win a lot of games, but we only lost half.
Okay,
So
that's fair.
yeah, and you know, I'm going with the Ted Lasso theory here, in that you know you can only get better.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
You know, believe. I kept like pointing to a fake sign behind me during practices. Believe.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're kicking off into the sports stuff. We've been hitting the swimming pool. Like I said, we're going to
Let's go.
Wilmington, North Carolina in 2 weeks. Little
Nice.
beach vacation, get the kids playing. I'm excited to be done with just using my brain for a week. I cannot wait to just release that. But other than that, everything's good here in Columbus, man. Just ready for Buckeyes and Bengals football.
Nice, man. I'm going on vacation this week to. We're going on a two-night vacation down the Springs. We're going to go to the zoo and then up to the mountains, and then we're going to Southern California. Actually, in first week of August, we're going to go to San Diego, go to the zoo and the wild animal park. We're staying at an Airbnb that has like miniature animals,
Oh,
so like mini goats and mini horses and mini pigs.
Rob
like that.
comes back looking like Peter Pettigrew and missing a finger.
Dude,
We'll
let
know
me
what
tell
happens.
you. Hey, I grew up on a small farm in Northern California. 3 acres. We had like 25 head of sheep. We had about 30 chickens, dogs. I had a horse. So I know what I'm doing out there, man.
Yeah.
You know?
legit.
Yeah. I know what hay bale. I know what like hooks for the hay bales look like and what they're used for and how to use them. So. Yeah. Yeah,
Love it.
Ryan just sits back there. I feel like, you know, Ryan disappears, but I'm not quite sure what he's doing.
You know what? Ryan is still basking in the compliment that Ryan Burns gave him about his angelic voice and contemplating a second career of just reading audiobooks.
Do you guys get YouTube comments while you guys are doing this? Like, are there people commenting here and there?
Not so much in the spring.
No one watches.
Not so much in the spring or this, but when we switched to Saturdays last year for
We had
our
a couple. We had a couple.
like Saturday review, whatever the hell we want to live reaction shows, we had a lot more people join us live, and we had one. It must have been an AI bot or something, because that shit just kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we eventually had to mute it. Like, stop.
It just kept
It's
going.
driving us nuts.
Yeah.
Usually the comments come after the fact. If people watch it, they'll send comments out. So
Okay. No, that's fair. I will continue to promote your show. I love you guys. I do listen when I can to any
Appreciate
podcast really, but you guys for sure, especially for the season previews, you guys have top-notch guests on. It's for Big Ten content. It's great. I love it because you guys never get like political on any of the apps out there, which for me is like super important, because some people that I follow that I used to find to be very like entertaining for a sports side, all of a sudden start getting political, and to me that's just boring. Like it's low IQ kind of stuff, and it's like there's no reason for it. Are you a sports guy, or are you like trying to like get followers? And it's like, so I get really tired of some of those takes. So I do appreciate you guys for that. But I always have a good time coming on your show. There's absolutely no reason that people shouldn't be listening to you. So I'll make sure to keep pushing that, and the Redcast will continue to push it.
we appreciate you, man.
You
We
got to
really
pull
do.
quote that, Clinton. There's no reason you shouldn't be listening to our.
I say that wholeheartedly, and you know what? And I'll tell everybody too. Like, you don't want to listen to me? That's fine. Don't listen to this episode. I could give 2 shits, quite frankly. I could give.
You
2
could just
shits.
mute Rob and listen to us talk.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
just
by the way,
mute-
one thing that we didn't talk about, and I totally wanted to bring this up, and I had a note here, and then as I was turning my stuff off, it popped up right in front of my screen because it was the last thing I did last night. An interesting fact about Nebraska football that we will close out the show with, how's this, is that Nebraska is only returning 34 upperclassmen this year. They have 15 juniors and 19 seniors. Everything else, they have 36 sophomores, they have 35 redshirt freshmen, and they have 21 true freshmen.
Wow.
So Nebraska is building a program because those 15 and 19-year-old or 15 and 19 juniors, seniors, those are going to be guys that you're going to see playing. You're going to see on the field, everything like that. But you're going to see a lot of rotation of probably some true freshmen, redshirt freshmen, and sophomores coming in and out of the field, and those are going to be fresh bodies that have been going through the program. So, this could be. That's one thing I think Rhule is doing is building a program.
Love it.
So,
Love to see it.
Yeah, that's good
Love
stuff.
to see it.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. That has been our Nebraska Cornhuskers talk. Rob, as always, it's been a pleasure. We will be back with you guys 3 times next week. Monday night, 9 p.m. We're talking Penn State? ?
We got Penn State, we got Oregon, and UCLA, right?
One of those things is not like the other.
Penn State,
Somewhere
Oregon,
there.
and UCLA. UCLA used to be good back in the 80s and 90s, if I recall.
Well, times change. Maybe they'll rebound.
Yeah. They got Nico now. It's good.
That's
times.
right.
All right, everyone. I need to go to bed. I'm tired. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Have a great weekend. Don't blow up your fingers. Oh, look, I got a dog. Is he been back here the whole time? Huh. Okay, there's a
That's how
dog
many
back
wins Nebraska's going to have this year.
there. 10 wins.
10.
All right,
I'm
everyone.
down.
Thanks, everyone.
See you guys
Have a
Monday.
great night.
Peace out.